Hey everybody, welcome to the latest edition of Coco and Daltz, your irreverent pop culture podcast. I'm not Daltz.
And I'm not Coco.
And we're mixing it up a little bit on our 17th episode, and I'm doing the intro.
So this is totally the upside down now. People are going to be coming in droves to listen to this podcast because you started instead of me.
Well, I was thinking, 17 episodes, that's a lot of the same with you doing the intro all the time. Like, this isn't like a marriage. Like, we don't want things to get stale, right? We need to keep things fresh. So.
And I was starting to get bored. I really was. So I'm glad you decided to spice things up a bit.
Well, I was just 17, and... You know what I mean? So, there we go. We got some Beatles on the podcast.
We don't have to pay any rights for that because it's in the
8-second rule.
It's also in the public domain, I think, too, by now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So for this episode, what are we going to talk about, Coco?
We're going to talk about a little-known art house film you probably haven't seen called Avengers: Infinity War.
Or as it's known on the screen, on the big screen, Avengers: Vertical Line. Infinity War. Because they can't do a colon, I guess, in the Infinity Avengers space. Maybe
somebody's had a bad colon experience?
No one has ever had a bad colon experience.
Maybe we should just stop recording right now and start all over again.
I'm off track now.
Right.
With the bad colon experience.
We do have a habit of going off the rails, and we just went off way quickly today.
So we went to see Avengers Vertical Line Infinity War yesterday.
Yeah, it was the day after Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de...
Sexo.
So, yeah.
I don't know. So a week after it was first released, I don't like seeing big movies like that on opening weekend.
Who does?
Well, a lot of people do, but I don't want to be crowded in the theater. I don't want to smell somebody's BO sitting next to me. I don't want to...
sit next to somebody chewing with their mouth open.
Right, commenting at the screen.
Somebody with their cell phone on.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And also, I already knew what happened because I don't care about spoilers, so I basically read everything online. So it wasn't like I was dying to find out who died, which, speaking of,
what?
Spoiler alert.
No, don't spoil it.
How are we going to talk about this movie if we don't talk about all the spoilers?
Well,
we're going to be like, it was long, go see it, the end.
No, but there's a lot... But the spoilers are at the end of the movie.
I don't know, because somebody has something bad happen to them kind of right off the bat, like in the first 5 minutes. So,
but he's not a good guy, though.
Well, he's not a good guy, but he's a popular character in the MCU. So
yeah, okay.
And his contract is also up, I believe. So I don't think...
so that's really the factor here.
Yeah, so there's a few of the people whose Marvel contracts are up, so I think we've stopped seeing them on the Avengers big screen after this movie.
So just for the edification of our listeners,
yes,
when it comes to the Marvel Universe, I'm a complete amateur, neophyte. I read the comic books when I was a kid, which was 40 years ago. You, on the other hand...
Well, I'm a fan in that I generally tend to like the movies. I think they're just fun and entertaining and escapist, and Marvel really does a good job with them.
Yeah.
But I've never read the comic books. I'm not going to scream about this deviated from the comic book. Like, I don't really care.
So we're coming at this from two different angles, which is good, because probably a lot of our many, many fans out there are in the same boat, coming from a different aspect.
I also have not seen all of the movies leading up to Infinity War, though. I've seen most of them, but there are a few that I haven't seen. So there may be some gaps in my knowledge, but I think I got most of it.
So without any filters and without me, telling you not to spoil it for anybody, just tell us what you think of Avengers: Infinity War.
Oh, you're going with the colon.
Well, I'm looking at a page here now. It has colon on it, so...
I think that's how it's been styled, mostly.
Right.
Okay. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a bit too long. That could have been partly because there were about 25 minutes of previews before the movie.
The official runtime, by the way, 2 hours, 36 minutes.
Yes.
Which is a long-ass movie.
So we were sitting in that chair for well over 3 hours.
sitting over the rotting popcorn in the theater that we went to see.
So if we had just been watching it on Netflix, like, it probably would have been a little bit better. But given everything we had to sit through beforehand, I thought it was a bit too long, but it didn't feel draggy. It was pretty action packed. Like, I never was like, geez, they could have cut that 10 minutes out. And like some other movies that we've seen where we've been like, oh man, they easily could have whacked a bit of it. Most of the characters made appearances and had pretty meaty storylines.
I thought you were going to say died.
Well, I mean, spoiler alert. I was really impressed with Chris Hemsworth. I thought Thor was awesome in this movie. He was really funny. He had a good storyline. I liked seeing Hemsworth being able to flex his acting chops and not just his biceps, although I do appreciate that as well.
If you could do both, why not do both?
I mean, if you're a pretty boy who can act, do it.
See, exactly. I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's like you, so.
Yeah, I'm always, when I'm around the house, I'm always flexing my pecs.
Sun's out, guns out.
Making them dance.
Yeah.
As I do something smart and intelligent.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I thought, I mean, you are smart. And intelligent.
Too late.
No, not too late. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was, like I said, Marvel knows how to make a good movie. So the storylines were good, and I'm pretty sure that everything that happened is not going to stay happened. But yeah. Although, like I said, several of the actors' contracts are up. So
that means that's it for them.
Yeah.
Or at least them playing that role.
Right.
You might have like a whole George Clooney Batman kind of thing where just somebody shows up in one episode and then somebody else shows up in another episode playing that same character. Well,
this isn't spoiling anything because, well, it kind of is. But so people have heard me talk about this before. Chris Evans' Marvel contract is up. He was only contracted for, I think, 6 Marvel movies. Sebastian Stan, who plays Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, is contracted for 9 Marvel movies. And apparently in the comic books, Bucky Barnes takes over as Captain America when Steve Rogers either dies or rides off into the sunset and decides he doesn't want to be Cap anymore. And so Bucky Barnes in the movie that we saw, Avengers: Infinity War, he was the long-haired guy with the fake arm. Right. And I didn't know who that was. Oh, okay. Really? Yeah. Haven't we? No, remember we saw when we saw Black Panther, that was the very, very ending scene after the credits. The random white guy showing up in Wakanda and T'Challa's sister coming and talking to him, and I was like, they totally just set up Bucky to take over as Cap right there. I didn't remember. I knew I recognized him from somewhere, but I thought maybe it was like at the Bed Bath & Beyond before the show or something like that. Right. We went and we bought like a shower caddy. And it's like, that guy got one too. I'm pretty sure he did. Right. So I'm not a huge fan of that if that's what happens, because I don't especially enjoy Bucky and the Winter Soldier as a character or Sebastian Stan's portrayal. So if that were to happen, I would miss Chris Evans. I think he brings a lot of depth to that character. Yeah. And what was the movie we saw him in New York that he played the star-crossed lover? Yeah. It was an independent film. You say what you liked or disliked about the movie, and I'll look that up. Well, so what I should do is probably give people a rough idea of the plot. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Of this movie that we went to see, Avengers: Infinity War. So you don't have to keep calling it that. Oh, I don't have to keep calling it? You think people will get that it's not like one sentence? Avengers, is there a possessive in there? Like, see, there's an apostrophe after Avengers, which is clearly incorrect. Right. But, people don't know grammar anymore. So. Well, that's true. The grammar police are not going to come down on me for that. So, Avengers: Infinity War there you go. Is essentially a movie about the Avengers trying to prevent Josh Brolin, who is playing Thermos, as the... Now, see, I'm reading the auto-corrected version of the script, and it actually should be Thanos? Yes, that's correct. So not Thermos. I don't know. I need to scratch that out. Although I think that would be awesome if they CGI'd an actual Thermos. Well, he kind of has a jaw like a thermos. That's true. The bottom of his jaw is like the twisty part of the thermos. Right. I just thought of that now. And not like a male body part like Peter Quill called his chin. No, but that was funny. Yeah, that was funny. We'll leave that joke in the movie because that we won't spoil that joke. So Josh Brolin, Thermos Chin, is trying to capture all the Infinity Stones that have been distributed by the Big Bang when the universe was founded. So we're talking big stuff here, people. Yeah.
This is not just little Penny Annie gonna rob a bank in Omaha. We're talking a big deal.
That would be really funny if Thanos showed up in Omaha, though. Could you imagine?
And then the wanted posters would be all around with the Thermos Chin.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So Thermos Chin wants to get all the Infinity Stones together and become, therefore, the most powerful creature in the world, or in the universe.
Because he's a genocidal madman, and he wants to wipe out half the universe.
But what I liked about this movie was he was a genocidal madman with a heart. Because his motive is to save the universe. And also his daughter plays a part in this movie. And he gets teary-eyed for a microsecond about it. And then there's a part in the movie where I won't reveal what part of it this takes place because it'll spoil something. But he sits down and he looks at the sunset. So he's a sensitive villain.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I just know too many people who are mentally ill who think they're doing the right thing, and they're really not. They're really just nuts.
A lot of those people.
You've met my family.
Oh no! Let's redact that part.
They're not listening.
No.
So. By the way, the movie that Chris Evans was in, the romantic comedy, is called Before We Go.
Before We Go. And
with
it was
Alice Eve.
And it was pretty good. Didn't you think it was pretty good?
Yeah.
We stumbled upon it on Netflix or something like that.
Yeah, I don't typically enjoy romantic comedies because they're boring.
Because you have enough of that in your real life?
And also, like, they're just boring and nonsensical and repetitive and not like you at all.
I thought you meant like you had enough romance and comedy in your life.
I mean, that's true.
Need it.
That is true, but
everything
also
is substandard.
But also because rom-coms just suck. But
usually they do.
I enjoyed it as a movie. So for what it is. So I think he's got a lot of untapped range.
So Chris Evans we're talking about. And
so sorry for that non sequitur. So back to Thermos.
And so Thermos so the plot is essentially Thermos Chin wants to steal he has bad motives. He has nefarious intentions.
Take a shot, people who like big words.
And he's got the whole ego thing going on there, and the only people that are in his way to prevent him from taking all 6 of the Infinity Stones are the Avengers.
Right.
And the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
And anybody who has ever been in a movie with those 2 groups. So it's a big cast of heroes against essentially one guy and a lizard face. And the lizard face's minions who are sort of like reptiles with armor on and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So there's the usual... and there's a couple of other villains there. I don't know. I didn't recognize them. I didn't see them at the Bed Bath & Beyond beforehand, but they were in there too, and they didn't fare well eventually. But
the people at the end in Wakanda?
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't do very well.
Yeah, they didn't fare very well. So this is what the story is. Essentially, Josh Brolin wants it. The Avengers are trying to prevent him from having it.
Yeah, and it was just 236 of chaos,
and on the Earth, but also off the Earth, in different dimensions and in different galaxies and different mindsets.
You're starting to sound like Timothy Leary here. Like we're going back to the 60s. Yeah,
their brain cages were.
I did actually enjoy. Speaking of going back to the 60s, although we're technically talking about back to the 80s, like Spider-Man, like there was a lot of comic relief, even though it was like a very serious...
It was an intense movie, but
a
lot of light moments.
There were a lot of light moments. Like Spider-Man made a lot of 80s pop cultural references.
Yeah. And Star-Lord made a bunch of jokey jokes about things. I mean, it was essentially to me this mashup of all these movies. Like, it felt like cutting room floor fodder, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I meant that, like, from all the other movies that they've made, the Iron Man movies, the Captain America movies, the Thor movies, the Avengers movies, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, they took bits and pieces from all these other movies, mashed them together, and came up with Infinity War. And but it works. It feels like it was pretty seamless.
Yeah.
But there were times when it's like, okay, here's the contractual Guardians of the Galaxy segment,
right?
And then here's Rocky the Raccoon or whatever his name is, and then we're gonna go over here to to Iron Man, and he's going to have some sort of crisis going on by himself that he's going to have to solve. And then now here's the Wakanda moment where Black Panther, we tap into that big money pool that we had happening. So like there's all these various things that you could tell was intentional.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there wasn't really a moment like at the end of the first Avengers movie where all the Avengers came together and they battled the weird space porpoise that Thanos sent down to... That's what it was. Like, really? For real. It was like this weird space porpoise thing.
I didn't see that movie. So was that one called Avengers: Space
the first one?
Porpoise?
It should have been. That would have made so much money. Like, Marvel, call me. Like, I will get your marketing, like, on flick. Like, but it was this weird space porpoise thing. And
where was the Silver Surfer? When you see, no, to me, logically, the Silver Surfer should have been there. If there was the Silver Surfer in that one?
No, because the Fantastic Four are DC properties.
Oh.
So
Silver Surfer is a DC guy?
Yeah, so Marvel doesn't have the Silver Surfer rights.
Yeah,
so they're bringing...
We'll edit that out and make me look smart.
But you are smart and intelligent, like you said earlier.
Stop.
What?
Keep going.
So, and now I totally lost my train of thought with the space
Silver
porpoise.
Surfer was not in the Porpoise movie.
Porpoise movie.
Porpoise Avengers movie. That's where you were.
But what did I don't remember. You say something. I can't remember.
Well, so what I was going to say is...
Oh, that was what I was going to say. So, like, at the end of the first Avengers movie, when there were only, like, 6 Avengers, and they all, like, congregated in New York to save the city from the weird space porpoise that Thanos sent down.
Right.
And then they saved the day, and Thor and Loki went back to Asgard.
Wait a minute, they saved the day?
They did.
Oh.
Yeah. I know, it's stunning, right? And yeah, so there wasn't a moment like that in Infinity War where like the 30 Avengers characters all came together like in Wakanda and battled the... Now this is a weird thing. Like when Thanos's weird space dogs, I think Rocket the Raccoon called them, like came in through the shield over Wakanda.
In Wakanda, yeah.
Like, they really reminded me of, like, the Demogorgons.
They did.
From Stranger Things. I was sitting there, I was like, those are totally Demogorgons. Like, so
Rip off.
Yeah, totally. And you already referenced the Upside Down, so it's all tying together.
So this is really probably our best podcast.
Totes.
It's all coming together.
I mean, we were just 17, and you know what I mean?
You know what I mean. So the movie, this little boutique movie that we've been talking about, that hardly anybody has heard of, it made
over $1 billion.
$1.167 billion.
In what, like 8 days of release, something like that?
Yeah, and this is old. This is as of yesterday. So that's ancient news in terms of the box office. But, that's through yesterday. And that was $453 million domestic.
Wow.
In the U.S. domestic. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of people going to see this movie. Now, when we went to go see the movie, we were stunned and surprised and totally taken aback by the fact that there wasn't very many people in the theater.
Well,
were you not? Or is it just me?
When we, it was a Sunday night, so I'll give it that. And it was a 7:30 showing, which means it ended after
rainy.
10 o'clock.
Wasn't it rainy?
I don't know.
No.
No, remember it only rained on your car in the parking lot. That's right.
That's right.
But yeah, so when we first walked into the theater, I think we were like the third and fourth people in there. But then during the previews, more people walked in.
Yeah.
So I think there probably ended up being like a solid 30 people or so in there. But it's not like we were in a small boutique art house.
It was a massive theater.
Right. It's a massive stadium seating theater. So
with popcorn that's on the floor dating back to 1997. And the seats probably were updated around that time.
Yeah, probably.
So I'm imagining we were talking about Numb Bum earlier from the 2 hour and 36 minute movie time. But if you're in one of those like Barca Lounger
that would have been awesome.
theaters,
yeah,
you're probably not even noticing that it's 2 hours and 36, right? And you're getting a foot massage or whatever it is they do these days in the modern up-to-date theaters that is not our local theater.
So what did you other thoughts like?
So what did I think of the actual movie?
Yeah.
So I thought the actual movie was fine. I mean, it was fine.
You gave it a 3 out of 5 on cocoandalts.com.
I did.
When you did your review today.
I did, and I need to give that more thought. Maybe that's an organic document, that review.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the characters. It was funnier than I thought it was going to be. We already sort of covered a little bit of that, but I liked a little bit of the wit. And I'm a big Iron Man fan. He was my boy when I was reading the comics. I was always into Iron Man. Mm-hmm. I wasn't into Captain America or any of the other, or Spider-Man or anything like that. I was more or less into him and the X-Men when I was reading comics. So seeing Iron Man just totally be Disneyfied, and he's walking around with his helmet off and everybody knows it's Tony Stark, like that wasn't the case in the comics. So I have a little bit of a problem with that. But really it was fine. I mean, I liked Thor, like you said. I liked Star-Lord. It was neat to see all the likable characters in the same movie,
right?
But it wasn't really all that different to me from any other superhero movie that I've ever seen.
Oh, okay.
There was crisis, there was conflict, there were 3 acts, there's a lot of destruction. There's a hero that you just don't like very much.
Which one was that?
Oh, no, sorry, a villain.
Okay, there we go.
A villain. Well, and there's also probably like Vision. Not that I disliked him, but he just didn't do anything.
Right. I believe his Marvel contract is up as well. So,
and that's Paul Bettany,
right,
who was the Unabomber
in Manhunt,
which is stunning to me. He was stunningly good in that, and then he's now Vision. So do you think every A-list actor has a clause in their contract where they must appear in an Avengers movie?
I think so, because there's a whole lot of them who...
When you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's...
Like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo.
Scarlett Johansson.
Elizabeth Olsen. Well, wait a minute.
Well,
Paul Bettany. Benedict Cumberbatch, which is a whole other segment.
Right.
Josh Brolin.
Chadwick Boseman.
Don Cheadle.
Oh, yeah.
Chris
Samuel
Evans.
L.
Samuel L.,
who was only in the scene at the very end of the very long closing
so stick
credits.
Around after the credits, people.
Yeah.
And Vin Diesel.
Oh, he's the voice of Groot, right?
Right.
And Bradley Cooper, voice of Rocket.
Right. Gwyneth Paltrow. Benicio del Toro. Zoe Saldana. Chris Pratt. I don't think we mentioned Chris, did we?
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. He's having a bit of a... he was in this and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which we saw recently.
Right.
So he's getting some big screen love.
And your favorite, Idris Elba.
Yeah, but he was only in it for like...
What was he?
He was Heimdall at the very beginning when he summoned the Bifrost. When... Yeah, you don't know what I'm talking about.
I need subtitles on this.
Yeah.
But he was at the beginning of the destruction...
Right, like at the very, very beginning scene with Thanos and Thor and Loki. Like, he was like the one black guy.
See, I don't remember.
Yeah, and he was pretty much unrecognizable because I was like, I think that's Heimdall, but I can't tell. And then we saw the closing credits, and I was like, "Yup, Idris Elba. There you go."
Yup. So that movie already all-time domestic number 15.
Only number 15?
Already.
That's really surprising. I would have thought it would have cracked the top 10 and probably even the top 5 since it's already past the $1 billion mark worldwide.
I'm reading boxofficemojo.com.
Okay.
So maybe they would know. I don't know.
Yeah. And it has not opened in China yet, I don't believe. But apparently Marvel movies don't tend to do very well in China because...
This is hearsay.
Which is hearsay. I've been told this. I can't verify this. But, Captain America and Iron Man aren't iconic characters in China, so...
Wait a minute. Another country doesn't embrace Captain America?
I know, right?
Wow.
Who would have thought? Why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they?
Right.
So, overall, in the pantheon of tremendous Marvel superhero movies, where does Avengers, Vertical Line, Infinity War...
Oh, dear Lord. Oh, Star-Lord.
Where does that fit in?
It's not my favorite Avengers movie.
Which is?
Probably Captain America Civil War.
Oh.
I really, really liked Captain America Civil War. I'd say it's probably in my top 5.
Top 5?
Yeah. And like I said, I have not seen all of the what is it, 20 now Avengers movies in the MCU and Avengers adjacent movies. So
is Silver Surfer in any of them?
I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure that's a no, but
okay.
I could.
I always thought he was a Marvel guy.
Well, I don't know. I think Fox got the rights to some of the characters, and that's why Spider-Man only recently came into the MCU. So,
the
but
MCU
now
being
the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. Whoa! I know, right? Fancy.
So, by the way, Stan Lee is in this movie
because Stan Lee
because
is
he's
awesome.
got to be in every one of them.
That guy could just like set fire to just giant mountains of cash and still be richer than.
I was reading
anybody.
A story in the New York Times about Stan Lee, and they went and visited him.
It sounds. I didn't read all of that, but it sounds dodgy and sad.
Yes, they were because he's an older gentleman. There's concerns about his well-being and his care, and whether his money is being looked after.
And like his longtime wife recently died, I believe, and now he's being cared for / managed by people who are like Uber drivers or something. Like it's
right.
It's really like I said, I didn't read the whole thing, but like the few graphs I did read, I was like, oh, this doesn't sound like a very good situation.
And he's not making buckets of money because he signed a deal way back to, let's say it was $1 million or something like that. And then he handed over rights to the filmmaking entity, the filmmaking part of it. Just to go back, Fantastic Four is actually a Marvel property.
But it's owned by like 20th Century Fox, though, right?
The comic books are Marvel.
Right,
Marvel.
they're Marvel, but the rights to the characters themselves are owned by 20th Century Fox.
For cinematic purposes.
For cinematic purposes, yes.
So now I will look at Silver Surfer. Yes. So he was in Fantastic Four, so he's also Marvel. So I'm not crazy. So theoretically,
right,
they could be in these movies. Because the X-Men now are they not Marvel?
Well, I think Disney / Marvel is trying to buy them back, which is why they have Deadpool. And in the original Deadpool movie, if you're a comic book fan, they even reference like there would be more X-Men in this movie, except we don't have the rights to them. So I think Disney is trying to buy them back piece by piece, so
Ryan
they
Reynolds
can have.
Is great, by the way.
Yeah. So speaking of Deadpool 2 comes out either next weekend or the weekend after, I believe around May 19th, which I'm very surprised by because I wouldn't, even though Deadpool is not part of the Avengers movies, I wouldn't have thought that
comes out next Thursday.
Disney / Marvel would release 2 gigantic summer superhero movies so close together.
But here's the thing, one is R-rated and one is PG-rated.
And I know we're going to go see it because you love Ryan Reynolds because he's Canadian.
Well, see, I saw Deadpool, the first one. I kind of got dragged to that one, and I was not... It's a pretty vulgar movie. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll go see Deadpool 2.
Really?
But the thing is that's most intriguing about that is there is a duet between Ryan Reynolds and Celine Dion. Celine Dion made a song for the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
There's a duet, apparently.
So are we going to go see Deadpool 2 then?
Well, maybe we'll just wait to see that show up on YouTube, and then we can just watch that.
I think it's on there. I think I've seen that on my gossip sites.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, see, I don't have any... If you want to go see it in the theater, I will totally go see it in the theater because I just dragged you to Avengers, Vertical Line, Infinity War, which...
Oh, now you're doing it.
I know. Which I know you don't necessarily want to go see on your own. So if you want to go see Deadpool 2, I will totally go see it. But I wasn't a huge fan of the first Deadpool, so I don't have to go see it.
I thought it was pretty funny, Deadpool. I like Ryan Reynolds, like I said, but I don't really... Again, superhero movie.
Yeah.
Same thing happens. Like I guess it's similar to a lot of movies. Mm-hmm. You have opening act, you have crisis, conflict introduced, you have somebody dealing with the conflict, you have resolution. Mm-hmm. Like it's very formulaic in a lot of ways.
Right.
No matter what kind of movie you see. Mm-hmm. Whereas in terms of superhero movies, it's more obvious because there's not a lot of symbolism. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of depth there. It's like, this is what's happening. You're seeing it on the screen. You don't have to pause and interpret it. This is it. Right. So it's more obvious about the formula. So I'm just being picky. I'm just being a snob, essentially. It was entertaining. It was fine. I thought it was good.
Yeah, and the thing I didn't love about it is I just saw how hard it was trying to be, like you said, vulgar. Like, everybody lost their minds about a superhero who cusses, oh my god! And that was really funny. But I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on, like, Netflix or something. So I'm sitting there watching it, and there was, like, a really funny bit, but then the scene just dragged on and on and on. And I would, like, reach over and I'd grab my phone and I'd start looking at Facebook. And it was just way too try-hard for me.
And he breaks down the fourth wall, too, right? Like, he speaks to the camera a lot.
Which, I don't care about. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's different.
Yeah.
That, to me, is different. It's like a superhero is like, we're all in this together, wink, wink.
Right. So...
But...
Yeah, so I don't care about Deadpool. But so
let's wrap it up.
Well, first, give me your predictions for because
how many Oscars Avengers is going to be nominated for?
So, not really a spoiler alert. The movie ended with a cliffhanger, basically.
It did.
So, how do you think they're going to resolve this in the next Avengers movie, which I believe comes out this time next year?
So, what happened is the Russo brothers, who are the directors, have shot, if I'm not mistaken, have already shot the material for the next one. When they had everybody together, they shot essentially 2 movies, right? And so this one is the first one, and then the next one is the other part of what they've already shot. Reading up on what the Russo brothers did, they don't have a clear sense of where the next movie is going to go, because they're going to finish Infinity War, and then they're going to move on with the material they have. So... what I'm saying is I think it might be a little bit directionless when we get to the second part. It's like, what are we going to do? Like, are we going to... all the heroes who died at the end of Infinity War, and I don't think that's a spoiler because I'm not mentioning specific heroes, although we did hint at it with contract expirations.
Right.
But the heroes that died, they're not necessarily going to stay dead.
Right, even though Thermos said... no resurrections this time.
Right.
I mean, it's a superhero movie. Like,
well,
come on.
What did we say at the end of the movie? Is like, well, this is going to be the next one. Somebody's going to wake up, and it'll be all a dream.
Right. Bobby Ewing's in the shower. Right.
It's like, oh, what a relief that there's superhero X is still alive.
Right.
And why are you looking at me like that?
Right.
So I think there'll be some resolution. I don't like the odds of Vision coming back.
Yeah.
Just based on the way the movie ended, or the Green Lady.
Yeah, well, I heard a theory that all the people who did not turn to dust are probably gonna stay dead.
Oh, okay.
And the people who turn to dust are gonna come back.
Okay, so that goes contrary to what I was just talking about.
Well, no, that actually takes care of... yeah, that actually goes along with the 2 people you just... because the Green Lady...
they might come back.
No, the Green Lady would stay dead because she got thrown off the cliff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then Vision didn't turn to dust. He just got his head exploded. So,
yes, and turned into a shell of his former self.
Right. So
as sometimes we all do.
Right. Because life is hard.
Life is hard. Life is a superhero movie.
Right.
With Thermos beating down on you. Day after day. The man. See, maybe there is some symbolism involved here. Thermos represents the man beating down on you, having to pay the bills and go to work every day and get in your car and pollute the air.
Right. With your thermos. I don't know.
But, yeah.
So I'm not really...
what do you think?
I'm not really worried about it. Like,
you're thinking they're coming back.
Yeah, they're coming back. Like, I understand those who have their contracts up are probably not. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to die. Although I think the guy who died right at the beginning of the movie...
he's going to stay dead?
Yeah, I think he's going to stay dead. I don't think there's any resurrection for him, because his contract is definitely up. But, I don't... it's cool.
Tom Hiddleston.
I just want to, I'm not going to be chewing my nails for the next year wondering how it's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen. That's
okay,
fine.
here, I just got it in my mind. It just came to me. This is what's going to happen.
Okay, what's going to happen?
So the magic glove that Thermos had on that had all the pretty diamonds on it, and those were the Infinity Stones.
Right.
Somebody's going to grab that, and it represented time and space and
reality and soul and
sneezy and dopey.
Right.
So somebody's going to get that, and they're going to spin time back, and the dusty people are going to come back together, and then they're going to have like a parade down the Main Street USA in Disneyland World.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
And that's going to be the end of the movie.
So, do you want to hear another theory that I heard?
You don't like mine?
No, I do like yours. With Mickey Mouse, like...
It's a small world. They're singing a small world as they're going down Main Street USA.
Mickey Mouse is high-fiving Spider-Man or whatever.
Right,
like,
and there's a lineup
awesome.
of obese tourists on each side.
Eating like a turkey leg.
Yeah.
With, like grease running down their forearms.
Not even paying attention, really.
That would be awesome.
Okay, so what's your theory?
So the theory that I heard, so at the very, very end of the movie, Samuel L. Called Captain Marvel on his bad 80s pager. And
that looked like a BlackBerry to me.
Oh, okay. And because...
But it was probably a bad 80s
Captain Marvel is like...
Who is Captain Marvel? Has she been in any of these movies?
She is not. She's a brand new character. She's coming out. She's played by Brie Larson, Oscar winner for The Room.
So add another A-lister to the mix.
Yeah.
So when is Meryl Streep going to be a superhero?
She could have been Thermos.
She could have been Thermos.
She totally could have been Thermos.
She could have been Thermos.
Maybe she'll be Thermos's mother, coming back to like avenge Thermos when the Avengers clearly take him down.
Right, when they take his glove off.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
And so who else do we need in there?
Well, let me tell you about Captain Marvel first.
Sorry.
Okay. See, I told the listeners that we go off the rails.
Right.
So Captain Marvel might pull a Superman in the 1978 Christopher Reeve Superman movie and like
turns back time,
spin the Earth back.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why she would have to do that when they could somehow steal the time.
Well, just put the glove on and then use it for good, not evil.
Right. True. But Thanos is on Titan right now, gazing off into the sunset. So I don't know how they're going to get that.
He's genuflecting.
He is.
I don't know what that means, but
I think that means something to do with your arms, like you're like bowing in front of somebody with the arm.
So that's
motion.
not what I meant.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think he's looking at the sun and thinking about what he's done,
which he's cool with because he thinks he's saving the universe.
And there's going to be a tear down his rocky, craggy face.
Yes.
I think.
So. Yeah, so Meryl Streep and who else do we get?
So who else do we want to get? Other A-list actors that need to be Avengers characters.
I can't. I'm drawing a blank.
Well, what about Billy Joe Thornton? Billy Ray Thornton?
Billy Bob Thornton? Billy Bob.
Angelina Jolie.
Frances McDormand.
Brad Pitt.
There we go.
George Clooney?
Clooney, yeah. Not Matt Damon or Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is currently a DC property because he's the Batman, so he can't do it.
Is he still the Batman?
I don't know. I think that's totally up in the air. Like,
was he ever the Batman?
Well, he was in a couple movies, and he was supposed to be in a standalone Batman movie, but I think that's been deep-sixed for the moment.
I wonder why.
Yeah, because that was horrible casting and it never should have happened.
More candidates.
Stop messing with your face, Ben Affleck. There we go.
Ben Affleck. More. There's our Boston shot for today.
Right.
More A-list actors who should be in Marvel movies.
Yes.
So thumbs up or thumbs down.
Okay.
Tom Cruise.
No.
Tom Hanks.
Okay.
Robert Downey Jr. Well, he's already in one. Johnny Depp.
No.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No.
Brad Pitt. Will Smith.
No.
Adam Sandler.
No, dear God. He was
Is he still an A-list actor?
Oh. Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford was the next one. So Harrison Ford could be Thanos' dad.
Yes.
And he'd be like, "You dog, take the garbage out."
Right.
Like,
look what you've done, Thanos.
You picked that up. Jack Nicholson. Well, he's already been in a superhero movie, not a Marvel movie, but he was a good Joker.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah, we need Denzel.
What could he be? He could be like, he could be like Doctor Strange's boss.
Well,
because he used to be in St. Elsewhere, so he's got experience with doctors.
Okay.
Dustin Hoffman.
No.
Bruce Willis.
Okay.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson.
Oh, yeah.
So here's an indication of the way things are terrible in Hollywood right now. As I've gone through this whole list, I Googled A-list actor, and the next one is the first woman, and it's Meryl Streep. So how many... There's more A-list actors that are women
Right.
before that.
Right, like J-Law,
Jennifer Lawrence is the next one.
but she's in the X-Men movies, so she's taken.
Right.
Julia Roberts, who no.
What about Sandra Bullock?
I like her. I don't know. She's kind of gone downhill a little bit for me.
She's in the Oceans movie.
Yeah, which we don't have to see.
Really? It looks interesting to me.
I'd maybe
It
watch
looked
it.
a little stereotypical, though.
I'd maybe watch it on Netflix, but I don't need to pay $11.25 to see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Ryan Gosling.
Oh yeah.
Christian Bale.
Oh, but he was the Batman.
He was the Batman
in the 3 good Batman movies.
Right.
So
Oh, I'm going to skip over the next one. And then Morgan Freeman.
who's the next one? Like
Kevin Spacey.
Ooh,
We're going to skip over him.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
Dwayne Johnson. Now, Dwayne Johnson could be, who's The Rock, obviously.
Yeah.
Could have been the guy.
Thermos.
He could have been Thermos, but I think he could have been the part that Dave Bautista plays in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Drax.
He could have been Drax.
I could see.
But Dave Bautista is really good in that.
Dave Bautista is really good.
I'm not saying he needs to be replaced.
Right. I could see The Rock being Drax, but I like Dave Bautista's Drax.
Me too. Al Pacino.
Yes.
Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe could have been Thermos.
Yes.
Maybe,
Russell.
maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, Russell Crowe would be a good Thermos.
I
love that we're just calling him Thermos.
John Travolta.
Maybe.
Clint Eastwood.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
In a Marvel movie?
Yes. He could be like Rocket's dad or something. like, can you imagine that? That would be awesome.
Michael Caine.
Oh yeah, Michael Keaton. Oh, he's already Vulture in the Spider-Man movies, so they need to bring.
And Michael Keaton was also Birdman.
Wow,
as the failed superhero who tries to do something else.
And he was the Batman in like the Tim Burton movies.
Right.
So wow, it's full circle for Michael Keaton.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes.
What would he be?
Oh my God, I don't know. Let's.
I think we should put some of these people in like the cameos when they show up, and he's just like the star commander who says, "We're never gonna make it," and then that's the only time you see him in the whole movie.
Right. Like Daniel Day-Lewis is like the guy at the shawarma counter and like serving the Avengers in that one like closing credit scene at the end of the original like Avengers. And he's like, "You want more chicken or whatever?"
Yeah.
And then
or they have to really hustle to get to the airport, but they can't use their superpower, so they get an Uber, like you say, and it's like Anthony Hopkins is the driver.
That would be so awesome.
Would you like some liver and fava beans?
And a nice Chianti.
Matthew McConaughey.
Nah.
No. Julie Roberts. Angelina Jolie.
Yes.
Nicolas Cage.
That could be entertaining.
Hugh Jackman. Well, he's an X-Men.
Yeah, he's a Wolverine.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
Okay, now we're going way down the list. Oh, Sean Penn.
Terrible person, great actor. So maybe I'd be into it.
Joaquin Phoenix.
I'm going to say no just because he's Affleck adjacent.
And the last one that I'm going to mention, Kate Winslet.
Okay.
So she would be...
Captain Marvel's sister? I don't know.
Could be. So now that we've completely recast
right.
the Avengers movies and also supplemented minor roles with A-list actors...
I mean...
I think we're onto something.
I think we are. Like I said, Marvel, call us.
We have got some good ideas, Marvel.
We do.
And another good idea that we should execute right now is wrapping up this podcast.
This has gone on a little bit longer than we thought it was going to.
This is usually a shorter podcast, but we had so much fun we couldn't control ourselves. So you did the opening. Do you want to do the closing?
I do. Thank you for listening to episode 17 of the Coco and Daltz podcast for another week. I'm not Daltz.
And I'm not Coco.